some of you. It was the best session class ever that you missed. Oh my God. Oh, man, like Jason Calacanis was here, Peter Thiel. It was like just, no, just kidding. No, it was a really good class. You did miss my demo of my app. I was going to demo it again this week, but I think I need another week. I'll show you some more stuff I've been doing. But I've been having a lot of fun with that. And of course, like already started like 2 other apps. It's kind of addictive. Like, I don't know if you guys feel this way. Like, I like start doing it, and it feels like so empowering. Like I like something. I press like one little sentence, and like so much happens in like 10 minutes. And I just kind of like I can just sit there forever. Like, and now I have like 4 Claude windows open. It's like, okay, you go plan a new feature. You go fix this bug. You go optimize this API calls. You rewrite the documentation. Like, go. Sorry. And then I go make a sandwich. And it's cool. All right. So today, we've got pitches. We're going to see 6 pitches. We're cutting that down a little bit just for time. And so that should take about an hour. Hopefully, no, it should take less than an hour. And then we'll have a chance to talk a little bit more. We've got some Gauntleters coming today. I've mentioned Gauntlet before, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about them after the pitches. And I think the plan is to have Gauntleters each kind of sit at a different table, and you be able to kind of gather around and maybe talk to them about some of the stuff you're building and ask questions in a little bit smaller groups is the hope. So it should be, I think, a fun day today. And anything else you want to announce before we start? All right, we'll start with pitches. Let's go. Watch your pizza.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, I think it's working, but I think you got to speak up.
Okay, sorry. Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron, and I'm a third-year computer science major. Today, I'll be pitching an Uber spinoff. Before we get started, imagine you're in a rush to an important meeting or interview. You open your ride-hailing app and then realize that there are no available drivers nearby. Okay, and it's probably one of the worst situations you want to be in. Today, my pitch will be an Uber spinoff called Quick Wheels, which is an enhanced ride-hailing app designed to help users make better commuting decisions when rides are scarce. Now, the users are time-sensitive travelers who need to arrive at a certain place on time. And the core problem is that during peak hours, rides can be very scarce. And scarcity doesn't really or simply lead to delays. It can also lead to uncertainty and decision paralysis under time pressure. This matters because rides scarcity are common and predictable, yet platforms like Uber only show you rising prices and long wait times. They fail to present the users with optimal decision support under these time constraints. So my proposed MVP would be a full ride-hailing app with a simulated marketplace dynamics and integrated decision layer to help the users make optimal decisions under time constraints. This decision layer is able to take time into consideration and detect current scarcity and delays and suggest any adaptive changes and present structured alternatives to help the users reach their destinations on time. The goal of this MVP is to test whether decision guidance improves user satisfaction when rides are scarce. And my plan is to build a web app with both mobile and desktop compatibilities that embeds decision assistant tool with simulated driver and wait times and a similar ride-hailing interface to Uber. Now, the risks are that users may not trust recommendations generated by the decision layer. Sometimes we tend to trust our guts more, and that's totally fine. And in order to mitigate this risk, I would display the reasoning of the decision layer based on these dynamic factors to help the users trust this suggestion more. And yeah, that is Quick Wheels, which is a enhanced ride-hailing app that helps you decide rather than simply waiting for delays. Thank you.
So a couple things that I'd like to see you work on with this. One, the number one thing, one of the things we talked about the pitches is practicing. And practice is going to make it so you don't need the phone. And there were times, I can tell you practiced, because there were times where and it was kind of more to me to like the second half, as you got a little more comfortable, where you'd stop looking at the phone. And you would like kind of be talking more to us. And those were like your best parts. And so the more that you can do that, the more that you don't need to be kind of like really using the phone as such a crutch. And even a middle step there is to like maybe just have some bullet like reminders. Like you might have like 10 bullet points on the phone. So it's like, okay, if I really lose my track, I can make sure I hit these things, but you're not reading it at all. You're just kind of like making sure you're on track and you don't have to look at it as much. And so I think practice combined with that would like really, really help yours a lot. I have a question and I want you to answer. So what is decision support? And what other options, if I go to pull up the thing other than Uber, what other options is it going to give me?
So it could be something like a rapid bus route nearby.
A bus.
Or it could be, as I see on Uber, there could be scooters that are on
Great.
the
Okay,
side of
got
the
it.
streets.
Okay, that's what I thought you meant, but you never really said that. Like you were kind of talking at this somewhat technical level about like, which for me using kind of big words, without ever, you never used the word bus or scooter or like I literally wasn't sure like, what do you mean? Like what are the alternatives, right? So I think just like really simplifying the language, like it felt very formal to me. And that, to be honest, like made it kind of hard to understand. And so, so that said, the last thing I want to mention is there was a startup. There's always other startups that like have done similar things in different ways. That's like a good thing. That's common. But there's a startup you should look up, and it was actually started, and it was came here to Capital Factory and was like a big partner of ours, and ended up selling to Mercedes. And its company name was Ride Scout, and a big part of what it did was help you, you say you would want to go, and it would give you all the different options for how to get there. So that'd be just a good example to look at. I don't think there's anything like that anymore now. But anyway, I think the idea is pretty interesting. Like now that I understand it better, like I definitely think that'd be a cool demo to build. Is like give me all the options and not just the Uber options. And I would definitely also look at just like what other kinds of things are out there too. So.
Thank you.
You guys want to add anything?
Yeah, I would just take what Josh is saying one step further. You know, his expression that the pitch is the transference of excitement from you to us, right? And the description you gave of the product was a sort of a technical and product feature overview. And to take it a step further, then you want to explain to the users why they should be excited to use this. So, you know, turning it into that storyline where you're late for the meeting and there's not an Uber for 20 minutes, and then your app found a scooter and I was able to get there on time in 5 minutes, or, you know, and kind of storyline that out to get people excited and wanting to use it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, similar stuff. I think I like the opening. I would have closed with some tagline like "Never miss a meeting again" or "Never be late," like kind of like on the end. And yeah, I think when you think about the demo, you know, you really need to demonstrate and visualize like there are multiple options. So like yeah, I don't think you want to talk about the process stuff. It's just like, look, this app finds multiple options like scooter kind of stuff, because it was unclear. Yeah, you want to talk about the solution. It was also unclear where you were pitching like you had some special thing that wasn't available, like some way to get, you know, Uber or whatever rides that were not even on the market, or you're organizing the market. So just make sure you don't write an Uber app and you focus on the unique part that demonstrates these options.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, my name is Jay Balala, and I'm currently a junior majoring in computer science. So, back in high school, I lived near a pretty big logistics hub, and one of the things I noticed was that on my drives to school, a lot of the times they would be filling up these massive 18-wheelers, and they would essentially fill them up around halfway and then just close the doors and send them out. And I thought this was a huge visible waste of space. On the other hand, I knew a lot of people, like my dad, for example, that owned rental properties, and he would always be paying like these extremely high premiums for shipping big items like replacement refrigerators and sofas. And he would also sometimes even rent his own U-Haul truck because he didn't have a corporate shipping account. And so putting two and two together, I had a sort of light bulb moment for my spin on Uber called Cargo Connect. So the problem here is that there's essentially two groups that are invisible to each other. On one hand, we have truck drivers that are traveling millions of miles with deadhead, which is sort of industry lingo for empty space. They're burning fuel to move air. And on the other hand, we have individual shippers, like my dad, for example, or even small businesses that are wanting to send out these sort of awkward medium to large size pallets and packages. And it's really, there's no essentially middle ground there. And so the infrastructure for all this already exists. We don't need more supply. We don't need more trucks. What we need is a trustworthy trust layer, something that bridges these two gaps. And so my proposal aims to do so using two key features. The first one is essentially a natural language searching engine where you can query things like, hey, I want to send a package from Austin to San Antonio by the end of this weekend. And so what this application would do is essentially find the optimal route and match you with that, and you could figure that out. But another problem that arises with that is, what if your package is too big for the empty space that the truck has? So the other feature is essentially you uploading a picture of your box and uploading the truck driver also uploading a picture of his own empty truck bed and sort of figuring out if that would fit. And based on that, that would also determine whether or not the match is there or not. Now, one of the biggest risks I see for this sort of a platform is theft and damage to goods. So I think that the most common way to solve this would be to just have some sort of identity verification in order to use the application, and also have some sort of payment escrow system where the payments are held by the driver before giving it to the driver until they essentially show a picture that they've delivered it and everything's good, just like sort of how Amazon works. And so yeah, all in all, this bridge will essentially help to stop shippers from paying as much and also give truckers more money for miles that they're already traveling. Thank you.
Tell me more about the trust layer and rationale for it. And yeah.
Yeah, so this is essentially sort of like Uber. So initially, if someone was to make an app today and Uber wasn't already a thing, there would be a lot of issues where people would be worried about, hey, should I trust to get into this random person's car or not? And so there's sort of this, this sort of intrinsic layer you have to get past, right? And so this application essentially is aiming to get to that level, to where you have trust in a trucker to essentially send your package to the place it needs to be. Because a lot of times, this sort of stuff can be kind of suspicious. So that's sort of just it's just sort of supposed to be a bridge between those two.
Who's
groups.
responsible for establishing the trust?
I guess that comes with more users coming on the platform over time. So I guess sort of like how Uber did San Francisco drive solely at first. You would have some sort of small beta version before you go into something bigger, create some sort of media presence or something. So I guess that's sort of how you'd go about doing that. But I don't think it would be immediate. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also it's pretty well proven that your ratings and reviews, your rankings help you establish trust. Like if you let people rank the drivers and stuff. So I think that's that part. I feel like there's a good model for. Your pitch was really good. You practiced it. It was a good story. It was easy personal, easy to understand. Have you talked to any truck drivers?
I have not. No.
Okay. So it's not easy, but that would be a really important part of this. I do think this sounds like something where there might be parts that are more complicated you're not thinking about, like the fitting the stuff in the back or the insurance or other things.
Yeah.
And it's just really helping to think that through by talking to some truck drivers would really help. And I wouldn't put it past any of all of you that think that in the week that you have that you can't go talk to some customers. And if you think what might really make your pitch stand out from the others, saying, I talked to 3 customers or 5 customers, and here's what I learned. That will really make your pitch stick out and better. So just as, that's an idea. Similarly, as we saw with, both of these 2 pitches, and it's going to be very common. There are going to be things that have been out there that either have been similar or are similar. In this case, there are quite a few different things that have been, they would call this LTL, lighter, less than a truckload, I think it stands for, shipping, where it's like part of a truck. And there's actually a company here in town called UShip that was like a big part of what they did. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do it.
Right.
There's lots of things. I'm just saying you should just be aware of like what's out there, right? Part of what I would thinking, and I definitely you definitely have to talk to some truckers or somebody before you like just build something for them. But I think, maybe there's just a much simpler take. Like maybe, and part of it's just making the problem simpler for you. Like maybe you're like, yeah, but like I'm just gonna like put one thing in the back. I'm gonna give you one more thing to ship. And that's part of like you don't have to go measure anything. Just like you just have to tell them it's like at least it has to fit in this space or something. I'm just making shit up. But like I would also not be afraid to just like really simplify the use case. But you should do it in this case like it's like you've seen one half of the problem kind of, right? Or even like part of it. And I think making sure you understand a little bit more about the rest of the problem would really help influence what you build.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great pitch. I mean, it was authentic, and obviously you were talking about something that you knew something about. I think it is hard to see like what exactly you're going to demo here. So, I mean, we're on limited time, and what Josh says is really right on. I think that ideally you would talk to some people with a problem and have like a smaller niche, like hospitals need to take things that require refrigeration from here to here, and there are refrigeration trucks that are empty every day, and I can register them and do this, and boom, it's an unserved market. Like something like that, and then you can always make the case it's going to grow from there. So when you say I'm going to ship everything by everyone, and what I'm sitting here thinking, is there already a marketplace, or you're going to try to build your own, or whatever. So to get the demo to a really concrete problem, it will be helpful. The other thing I'll mention is that people generally like to talk to and are nice to college students and entrepreneurs. Like with those 2 things, you can walk into almost any other entrepreneur and get a meeting. And I've seen people just show up at people's offices, and that works. So, to really get to a great demo, it would be talking to some people about their problems, and they'll tell you what their problems are, and maybe you can build it or not. So I would encourage to do that to the extent you can.
To Josh's point about the competitive marketplace is really important to understand, and we want to be really clear that if there's already someone who's got an app for that does not mean you cannot do it. That is, for a lot of people, validation of the market, that if there are some players in the market trying to go after it, but you want to understand that they're out there, and you want to understand how you would fit in or have an angle that could be successful in the marketplace, and how you would differentiate yourself, maybe by being more specific as you're starting use case, or something that's going to help you find your way in the market. We started, Booking.com was Priceline at the time. They were enormously successful. And then we started Hotwire.com, which was pretty much a cookie cutter, and sold it for $700 million, so it worked out.
And I'll say, Josh's example is a really good one, where it already exists, but there's a niche gap in what it is. And your ability to actually point that out and say, these people like this have this problem, the current thing doesn't solve it, and here are the features that do it. Yeah, so that's really powerful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Alexis Fan, and I am a third-year CS major here. And today I will be pitching you my MVP, Campus Hops. So I'm sure many students, just like me, don't have a car here because thankfully we live in Austin and we have great public transportation. But sometimes the public transportation, our bus lines will get canceled or it'll take a long time. And I'm sure many college students across the nation aren't as fortunate as us to have public transportation like we do. And that can leave a lot of us wondering, how am I going to get groceries this week? When should I go so I can avoid the traffic? Or maybe I need to go to this cafe, but how am I going to get there? And so my idea was to have an app similar to Uber where it's going to be a rideshare app, but it's going to be limited to a 2-mile radius within campus. And so I'm sure a lot of you guys have used Uber or Lyft before, and you're trying to go somewhere pretty close, and you'll open your app and see it's $15 just to go somewhere 2 miles. And so the thing about Campus Hops is that I want to keep it relatively affordable for students. And so we'll probably have a flat fare around $4 to $6, which I'm sure, if you want to go somewhere, you can muster up $4 to $6, or you can split it with your friends, and bam, it's 50 cents a ride. And so the thing is, to make this, I would have an app similar to Uber where students would have the pickup location, the drop-off location, and as for drivers, they'll only be able to see rides that are within the specific radius that they are willing to do. Because with Uber drivers, a lot of traditional rideshare apps are built to profit off of long-term rides. So something around 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you'll get more money that way. So when Uber drivers see these short rides, they'll tend to ignore them or cancel them. And so with Campus Hops, these drivers already know what they're getting themselves into. They're the ones willing to do these short 4 to 7 minute drives. And so hopefully with this, it'll reduce cancellations and students will be able to use it more affordably and safely. And I know some risks could be that why would anyone use Campus Hops when they can just stick to something they know? And hopefully we can test this within a small college or a college like ours, and to see that there is a lot of improvement, maybe we could partner with the campus, and the campus can give students like maybe 3 free rides every month or something similar of that sort. And so thank you.
I think was a great pitch and a great idea. Really good. A good twist on Uber. And kind of like we talked about in the last example, just finding just a kind of a really good example of carving off a niche. Like, here's my defined part. We're only doing rides under 2 miles. I think that's really interesting. And actually, I meant to ask this before. I meant to mention this before about the truck drivers, so I'm just going to mention it again real quickly now. Another way to use AI, we're like, you should talk to truck drivers. You're like, well, I don't know any truck drivers, right? Great. Go to ChatGPT. Be like, you are a truck driver.
Yeah.
I'm going to interview you. I mean, it's not perfect, but it sure as hell is better than not doing anything.
It kind of works. I did
right?
it today. I was doing it today.
No, you're going to
Yeah.
learn something. And then go talk to truck drivers too. But you should do that before you talk to truck drivers anyway, so you don't look like a dumbass. So you can do that with any of these things. And so in this example, I'd be going through it and I'd be going, okay, I'm designing a new Uber, but it's limited to rides under 2 miles. What are all the dynamics about that I might not be thinking about? What's unique about that? What are unique advantages I have? And helping it brainstorm with you what those things are, because I think there's a bunch. Maybe, just maybe, this is a good example of one of the places to apply the college filter and be like, this is only for college kids, and college kids are the drivers. And you can't always do that, but there's another startup that came through our class when it was in the other version that's called Now. What's their name now?
Was it from last semester?
No. This is the city-to-city ride share. Hitch. Yeah, they changed names a bunch twice. But Hitch, which is city to city, but it's really for college kids going city to city. That's who does this and who would pay for a ride like this. And the super cool dynamic, at least at the beginning about that, was that unlike Uber, where most riders are not drivers, in the kids going back and forth to the cities, actually a much higher percentage of the people would ride sometimes but drive other times. So they had a really cool market dynamic of more supply, more dynamic supply. Because sometimes I have a car, sometimes I don't, things like that. And I would expect you might have that same dynamic too. That I could drive today, another time I need to drive, right? So the real question then becomes, why would they drive? Do they make more money doing this than Uber? Or is there some reason why they can do this but they can't do Uber? Or something like that. Because otherwise, it's like it's still got to be better for somebody. Like it can't just be cheaper and not without. There's a sacrifice somewhere. But overall, like I said, really great pitch. Clearly, you practiced. It was easy to follow, easy to understand. A lot of personal examples, and I think it's a great example of like carving a niche off.
Thank you.
Yeah, a really good pitch. I think you need to, it's always great to say everyone makes more money and saves more money in this relationship. That's good. But I would look for a non-lowest price option here and kind of focus like on those, like, only for college students. Hey, that's interesting. Like they need to have an ID, and maybe you could even talk to like the university and find out what are their transportation problems. Like maybe they're all opening up, something that the buses don't do, and they get a lot of complaints about it. So I would, try to find some more things than are just price, for the unserved market. And I do like the more the niche, the better.
That makes sense. Thank you. Yeah.
Great on lots of levels. I think they've both hit on it in a number of ways. I envision, well, you painted the picture extremely well at each level, made it personal, relatable. You described it extremely well. So where my mind was going right away is that there's probably a lot of college kids driving around here anyway, because you got 40,000 students, 50,000 students all in a short geo fence driving around. It almost could be like bringing back hitchhiking because of the trust factor, which I'm not recommending hitchhiking to anyone, other than if you had students, it might work, because you trust each other.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
ACC's got, everyone lives off campus, right?
Yeah.
You get there somehow.
Yeah, that was cool.
Hi everyone, I'm Maya, and last year I was planning a trip to New York City. So obviously I'm not really interested in using Google or ChatGPT to find like things to do on my itinerary because it's too generalized. I want to find the best spots possible. So like other Gen Z users, I go into TikTok and I start searching for things to do in New York, and I'm just saving all the videos. And I save about 50. Now let's fast forward a month. I'm standing there in Soho, New York, and I'm trying to find the matcha spot that I've saved like a month ago. And I can't remember which one had the best reviews, which one had the best seating, and which one was closest to my hotel. This is a very common issue as TikTok has now shifted from an entertainment platform to a search engine platform. Now, receiving videos from search results is great, but actually managing the information from them is so difficult to do. So I'm introducing TikTok Notes, where instead of having one save folder with thousands of videos on it, we can now categorize into different folders. So for example, I'm gonna create a folder called New York City Trip, and anytime I see a TikTok about New York, I'm gonna save it in that, and then I'm gonna create a button at the top of the folder that says export. Now this is really important because when I hit export, it's gonna scan through all the videos in my save folder, and it's gonna give me a really nice, easy list to read with the names of all the spots I have, their addresses, operating hours, and any other comments that a creator might have mentioned, like bad service or come 10 minutes early, things like that. And it's going to make it into a really nice and easy to read list so I can actually manage the information I'm getting. So the build plan for this is pretty simple because TikTok already categorizes videos for their search engine functionality. If you go into TikTok right now and you type in brunch in Austin, you are going to see corresponding videos to that. So all I'm doing is just taking this already existing data on the TikTok platform and just converting it to a way where the user can actually be managing this data. And some foreseeable risks I'm seeing is if a creator like miscategorizes something or uses some incorrect keywords, that could show up in the results. And another thing that I wanted to do was add a map feature. So if, for example, it would plot out all the spots I said from the addresses, and if, for example, I wanted to, go to a museum in Brooklyn and then grab coffee in the Upper East Side 10 minutes later, I could see that that's not really feasible just because of how spread out those things are. So I'm actually able to visualize locations of things because of the map feature. And from there, we already use TikTok to help us with what we shop, where we go, what to do. So all I'm doing is taking all that inspiration and turning it into action that the user can actually take in an organized form. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to buy 50% of this business for, no, great job all around. Very descriptive. It sounds like a real use case. The summary of pulling things back up and organizing them is very, I don't know if you've tried this yet, but it's very feasible, I think you'll find, when you get building it in the AI. It does a good job on itineraries and can take into account location for you. Then it could be, I could see it getting into other, you could get in users using it for shopping and other things too. There could be, significant commercial value to the advertisers or people realizing that they're now getting stored in these bookmarks. It's like, what are you thinking about calling it again?
I was thinking like maybe TikTok notes or something.
Okay.
Because I was like, I didn't want to reinvent TikTok. I wanted to keep the video like content of TikTok, but
Yep.
then profit off the value of TikTok being a useful search engine now amongst like
Right.
younger audiences. So,
Smart.
yeah.
Great pitch.
Cool.
Really, really good. Obviously, you practiced. Great story, very personal. You could even pull some of that more into the last part. Didn't have to be like, and so it's going to do this. You could just be like, talk like it's done. But it was great. I really like the angle on it. It reminds me of something. Have you ever heard of Like to Know It? It was like an Instagram thing where like you would like they'd put tags in it that's like like a hashtag Like to Know It, and then you'd like it, and then it would like basically do a little bit of what you're doing, like pull out some of the products. And I think of two different possible use cases. There's like the travel one and then the shopping one. And I'm not sure they're exactly the same. Like it might just be a little bit like, because like the travel one has the map, whereas the shopping one might not. But if it was even just like effectively like a bookmarking service, like you're looking at a video and you're like share, you can like on your phone go like share with, and like you can share it with an app, and if they shared it with your app, then it maybe put it in a folder or did whatever, and now it's almost like your TikTok shopping cart, and you just anything you put in there, it's going to find all the products in there and effectively put them in a cart, so that you could, you still might click through to go buy them, but here's all the things you can go buy, right? And you'd think TikTok would do that. If you're gonna, I like the way you're doing it. I think you don't make a new TikTok, you make a layer on TikTok. I don't think you're allowed to call it TikTok. So you could just say like TT shop, TT cart, or like, something else. You have to like play on it. But overall, I think it's super cool. It might be bigger than TikTok. It could be like anything you favorite or that you share with it. It's going to look at the video, look at the content, pull out the products, and try to make it easy to buy them. Sounds super cool.
Yeah, really great pitch. I heard at least two ideas in there. One was the notes, which, as Josh said, I might not limit it just to TikTok. It's just like whenever I see something interesting, I hit the make note button, and the YouTube videos, the TikTok, or whatever goes. Yeah, and it's just, and that product is all about organizing something unstructured. The other one you kind of talked about was like, related to me, was like TikTok plans. Like I want to turn these things into a shopping experience or whatever, which is a different kind of thing. And so you just need to kind of make sure you're clear on what you want to demo and how to best do it. Because you want to tell the story and walk them through that use case, and you probably don't have time to do both. On the technology, have you played with Notebook LM at all? I have. Okay, so I think I'd prototype it in there. It sucks in YouTube transcripts, but I would like drop some stuff in there, and then have it make the plans or help it organize to kind of get a good feel for it. Because even in Notebook LM, you can hit different buttons like make study plan, make whatever. So I think it's kind of like that.
By the way, if you're thinking about how to turn your ideas into a story, Notebook LM is really interesting like that. You can throw in notes, structure your plans, even if they're kind of dry or product-y, and it'll give you back a pretty interesting storyline and narratives if you ask it to do that. You can turn it into a podcast.
The podcast
and
is really interesting, and it makes video now too. So it'll make a video slideshow of it, which is humorous.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Neil Gunlapalli. I'm a senior studying computer science, and my demo is a spin-off of TikTok. So imagine it's 2 a.m., you're in bed, you're scrolling TikTok, and you come across a video of somebody reviewing a restaurant in your area. It's amazing, you love the video, you love the food, everything's amazing, but you're gonna fall asleep, and the likelihood of you actually going to the restaurant is very low. So what do? You save it, maybe you favorite it, you even send it to a friend, be like, hey, let's go to this place. But in all likelihood, the second you scroll, you forget about it. So this is where my feature comes in. It's called Food Maps, and essentially what it does is whenever you see, or whenever you get a video of somebody reviewing a restaurant, you have the option to save to Food Maps. And what it'll do, it'll just save the location, the foods that were reviewed in the TikTok itself, and it'll save all of this into a map in TikTok. So you can just swipe, you go to the map, and within the map you can see all the videos, or all of the locations of the restaurants that you've favorited or saved or added. And within this, you can also have the option to, whenever you want to enjoy the food, you have the ability to click a button and it'll take you straight to your favorite food delivery service. So you say, I want to order now, and it'll take you straight to DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever, or even their restaurant website if that's not an option. So essentially what this will do is it'll show you all the places, and this can be expanded to an AI. So the AI, you can be like, hey, I'm feeling Mexican right now, what's in my area that I've liked, and it'll give you all this options. So that's kind of the use cases I've been thinking about, and there are certain risks. I think people have already have their own system or way of doing that, and that's through like going to Google Maps and creating like a list on Google Maps. But I think this version is much better since you're in app. You don't have the friction of going somewhere else. You can do it within the app, and you can also share these maps to a friend or something like that. So I think this is just an extension of TikTok. It's using what it does best and just creating action within a frictionable area.
Awesome. That was a great pitch, great idea, and at some level, it's the food version of the one we just heard.
Yeah.
Which is great, because it's a good idea, and it's a different thing because different people are gonna want to use. It's not like that you want to use the same thing. Some people want the food thing, and some people want the shopping thing, and some people want the travel thing, and like those are kind of different things, and you're gonna present and find all kinds of different things for each of those use cases.
Yep, clicks matter, so I like that point that you made, like in-app is a big convenience versus trying to remember and go over to Google Maps. I don't even see how that works really very well at all.
Yeah.
So
Although I was thinking you could also do this initially as a layer on top, where what you make is a Google map, and then you just give them a Google map and they can share it and they can do it. Just another idea too.
anyway, great top to bottom pitch, clear what you're doing, compelling, and you described it really well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, good. I think overall it's very good. I think the end could have been a little stronger. You would have said like, so then, next time you need to do this, you're going to look at the app and boom. Because it kind of in the end, it turned into, hey, there's some features and it's going to kind of work like this.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to say, or something like that.
Right.
If someone's going to give you money, they
Yeah.
want to know that you're on top of and clear on the features you're going to
So
build.
on Tuesday, I'm going to go there using my map app or whatever. I think it's also another just interesting technical problem over the user interface. And there's just like so many decisions over how you do that because you're sitting on top of something else. And, do you send links somewhere or how do you layer it? So good luck trying to figure out how to do that. And I think that the demo should be about how I've made this easy. Look how easy this is and boom.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, I'm Michael. I'm a senior studying computer science. And earlier this year, I tried to save my attention span by deleting TikTok 1 and also by reading more books. But I realized that book discovery is lacking behind every other medium. Like movies, TV shows, and music is all hyper optimized for short form content, but books aren't there. And there's like a subculture on TikTok actually called Book Talk, where people share books they like, but that's in itself also flawed because TikTok is meant to keep you on the feed. It's not meant to make you go read. So that's why I'm building Cover, which is a TikTok-style app, but for book discovery. And how it works is you have a feed of AI-generated hooks for books, and these hooks are tailored to each user based on their interest, and they're all attempting to grab the user's attention and make them want to read the book. How it's different than TikTok is on the app itself, it supports reading. And I think this is the most important feature because like you can go on TikTok and you can like discover new books, but you're gonna stay scrolling on TikTok. You're not gonna actually go off the app, go to a library and pick up a book. So yeah, that's cover. Yeah. I guess some limitations or some like just things I'm thinking about for why it could not work is copyright. I think that's the biggest thing, but how I'm gonna solve this cold start problem is probably just by starting with public domain books. I think that's like the easiest
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Exactly. I've been saying the same thing, but I don't know. Test it with, you got something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finish your thought on, you were saying, this is where I lost you. You said it's you can find the book, but the TikTok's not optimized for books, and then I thought
You're saying that
you
you
lost
can't
the thread. I didn't understand where it goes. Why is
right.
this good for books, in other
Yeah,
words?
yeah. So what I was saying is like TikTok's optimized for its feed. It's meant to keep you on its feed. It's not meant to
Right.
so you leave the app. So
I see.
the point of this app is it has a feed which is like triggers that sort of like short form like, oh yeah, I like scrolling, but then it converts that into reading on it.
Like you
It's
would
a
envision
reader,
somebody
too.
going right into reading the book?
Exactly, on the app.
So this is Goodreads meets Audible.
Yeah,
Or
I think
meets-
the thing with
meets,
Goodreads, I think I would put Goodreads more like Belly, where it's like you discover books through your social network, like, oh, my friend read this, so I'm gonna read this. But this is more about like a tailored feed of like your interests, and then using AI to like generate content that would appeal to you.
I think it's super interesting.
Super interesting.
Yeah, I think you want to end with kind of a walkthrough of you using it, to kind of make it clear.
Right.
And, because it was unclear to me, because like I'll watch a video on like top 10 movies or whatever, and then it's just like, well, where do I watch these movies and how do I save them?
Yeah.
And so like, I can see like watching the books, but then what next? And so, if it's a link to it or whatever, I would just tell the story about, how your life's now better that you can now get to these books.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Are people pitching books now on TikTok?
Yeah, there's like some sort of like that's the kind of subculture I was talking about called book talk. It actually grew so big that like you can go to Barnes and Nobles and there'll be like a book talk section. But yeah, people do share their books, but I just don't think I think TikTok and books are like in contention with each other. Like they're competing for each other's attention.
Got it.
It's good.
Okay,
insight.
presentation style. Great to use hand gestures. You have great facial expression, getting people excited. Don't move your feet
Got you. Yeah,
as much. How about that?
will do. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
Those were some great pitches. Good job. And good ideas. I really like the different ideas coming to the table. All right, we're going to try something of an experiment next. We haven't done this before, but I think it'll be good. We're not going to do this every week or anything, but we've got some guests here from Gauntlet. How many Gauntleters do we have? 3? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you. I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourselves in just a minute. I mentioned to Gauntlet this to you early in the semester at the beginning of first class, because Gauntlet actually was very specifically the inspiration for the changes that we made to this class. Gauntlet was started a couple years ago, and it's down the street from here, downtown, and it's a boot camp for AI, kind of starting out AI developers, now becoming like I'd say AI thinkers. And it takes people from industry, from all over the place. That really doesn't. There's not much of a where you have to come from, and it's a very competitive process. It's free for the people that participate. You do a portion online, and then you come here to Austin, and they put you up and put you in a give you basically a place and food and a place to work for I think 6 weeks, 7 weeks, where you're meant to be working your butt off, like kind of all your waking hours with all your other cohort of people, like in the office working and learning together. And you do a lot of experiential project-based learning to learn how to do things without coding, and to learn how to think, kind of do things AI first. And I know even probably it probably changes a lot. I know every day or every week it's probably changed a lot since I heard the pitch, a few months ago. For the last time. So, but anyway, really great program, and again, a big part of what inspired this class. Fortunately, I'm friends with Austin, who runs that, and I told him about this class, what we were doing, and how much it had inspired me, and he was so helpful. He just really kind of sat down and explained even more about how Gauntlet worked and gave us some examples for like the projects that you do, like how we think about that and test for that. And he's both come here before, and he's so gracious to invite some of the Gauntleters to come spend time with us too. So I thought it'd be really great for you to get to speak to some of the Gauntleters, because they're like doing a lot of what you're doing too, but they're doing it at a faster pace, at a bigger intensity, in the commercial market right now. And then they're all going to go use this to go do other things. So I think, but really relevant to what you're going through. And they're also really in it in the tools. Like of everybody in the world right now that's like building stuff with AI, I think probably a fair shot that the Gauntlet community is like on the cutting edge of that. They know like what are the best tools to use right now? What are the best ways to go do this? What are the best workflows and processes to go build things, right? Because they're really living, because it changes like every couple of days. Like I remember like just when I told you, I just finally got on Claude, and then Austin posts that like Codex is the thing. And I'm like, dude, come on. Like I just learned how to use Claude. But I'm, trying to keep up with him on like what's the best new tools. So, and maybe they even have some tricks for how you can get more credits. I don't know. But because that's the big thing holding many of the students back. So what I'd like to do is get the regular mic, if you can, and introduce the three of you to come up. And first, maybe just introduce yourselves real quick and talk a little bit about just your journey, why you're taking Gauntlet, and what your experience with it's been. And then what I was hoping to do is have each of you sit at a different one of these long tables, and we'll spread out a little bit, or maybe make 2 tables and maybe another section with the chairs. And then maybe one of us can each sit with one of them too, and really just give the students a chance to ask you questions and talk to you about what you're doing and things they're doing and anything like that. So can I invite the 3 of you to come up and one at a time introduce yourself?
Okay, so this was unplanned. I didn't know we were going to present today, so this is pretty rough. Totally spontaneous. Okay. Yeah, we're used to it. Okay, so previous experience, if you guys want to know my background personally, before this, I was working at Samsung for 4 years as a data scientist and then as a product manager. And then for 1 year, I tried to run my own startup for last year. And then from that point, I was like, I'm learning a lot of these new AI tools. These skills are coming out. I'm using it to build up my business. I'm doing full stack development. I'm doing market research, go-to-market and everything. I was like, this is basically what I'm doing by myself, but I had an academy to do it. So from that point onwards, I joined Gauntlet, and then I graduated, and currently I work in an edtech startup. So.
Hey, my name is Jason Jorgensen. I've got about 20 years of professional software experience. Before joining the Gauntlet, I was working at a casino gaming industry job. Was wearing way too many hats. Very cute dog. But yeah, Gauntlet and AI have basically accelerated my work because not only am I, planning as a PM, doing dev work, doing QA work, it's just been a wild ride. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Highly recommend the program. A lot of work, but yeah, it's been great. And yeah.
Are you gonna go back to your?
We all graduated. I currently work, I guess, as a subsidiary of like one of the Gauntlet things. It was part of our program or project that we were in, basically taking what used to be a $500 million market cap marketing agency and resurrecting it from bankruptcy and the dead, essentially. But yeah, so now I work also adjacent with Logan in some ed tech stuff, but also still doing some marketing things and also helping Kelly Claude. I don't know if you've followed her on Twitter, but been doing work with her. She's an autonomous open claw bot that hired her own employee after forming an LLC. Wild stuff.
He comes to the office every day. My name is Ariel. I also did the Gauntlet program. I worked as a full stack engineer for about 3.5, 4 years before Gauntlet. I studied computer science, which it sounds like quite a few of you are doing that. And yeah, I did Gauntlet because I was very interested. Well, I was starting to learn the AI tools and like get used to AI development, and I saw it as like a rocket ship I could get on to just like get to the front really fast. So yeah, now I actually got employed by Gauntlet itself. So I'm working as an AI engineer there, doing engineering work and then helping out with the cohorts that are coming in the future.
Can you real quick tell us about the experiment you guys did hiring the bankrupt company?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Logan and I were both on that team. Basically, it was called Marin Software. So they were a marketing agency, and essentially the space that they were in got eaten from, like, they had this thing where they could show you your Google and Facebook analytics, and so that was the only key differentiator, because they had automated bids, but Google and Facebook kind of ate away at that and integrated into their own platforms. And so with that gone, all the smaller agencies were like, oh, we can also show you your Facebook and Google ads. And so they just kind of got dried up. But we created another tool to basically allow marketers to easily go through and just change all of their copy. We called it Copy Refresh, because in Facebook and in Google, it's a very painstaking, time-intensive process to change your copy out on all of your ads. So
You found a different product for the same customers.
Correct.
You kind of you had the company, it had all these customers,
Yep.
or at least previous customers, whatever, and relationships, and you're like, what else can we sell them?
So during this experience, it was basically, we did customer research. So we did a lot of your experience. So we would hop on calls with customers. That was a huge part. Instead of building ideas that we think customers want, we built from customers. So we talked to customers, we interviewed them, saw what product needs they wanted, and we built products fast within 24 hours for them, demoed it, see if they wanted it, if there was a need, and then basically we built out a product for them. So it was a very much initial approach with how I would think is what do customers really want, and then build it out, but more just ask customers and try to dig deep what customers want and build from there. But with these AI tools now, you can build extremely fast MVPs, and you can get a paying customer within a week. So,
Yeah.
And this
I
was
mean,
a cheap.
before that experiment was hard.
Yeah.
A year ago or 2 years ago, right? Now, because of AI, because of AI, we can build something in a week. You can build something in 24 hours, right?
Exactly. So you only need a few resources to build an actually paying customer, and the subscription was actually pretty expensive. Customers were willing to pay $1,000 per month for our services. So there's definitely a need and desire for this, as long as you build out a good product. So.
Great.
So you all remember Rambod, who spoke to us last week? Is another student from our class from last cycle. He did exactly the same thing, which is, it's one of the key ways to build a company is to talk to potential end users. They'll tell you their problems. And then you kind of gauge do you agree with the problem? How complex is it? How effective can you create a solution? How emotional do they get about it? But if you find that connection, all of a sudden you've got customers right off the bat. So this is, it's brilliant. I love this whole idea. It's amazing. We used to pay for this software for many, many years in several of my businesses. Yeah, we're in software.
All right. Okay. So now, thank you. First of all, just thank you again for taking the time to come visit with us. We appreciate it on short notice, and when you have a lot of other things to do, I'm sure. We're gonna, as a bit of an experiment here. Okay. Could we even would it make sense to use that little seating area over there where the pizza is? Is that too much, or Yeah, just because I think it'll get us a little separated.
Did you get pizza? You should get some pizza.
So if we could have, we'll have one of you go to this big table over here, one of you go to the table here, and then one go to the seating area over there. And then I'd like to ask the students to basically try to evenly spread out between them. And we're gonna let's take 30 minutes. And really the idea is for you guys to be able to ask questions to them about what they learned from building. You can talk about the things you're building, and just get to have a little bit more direct Q&A. Okay, let's do that and we'll call everybody back. There's pizza if you want it to. All right. You guys want us to come head back to the center, please? We'll wrap up. All right, we're going to wrap up pretty quickly here. Thank you so much to our 3 gauntleters who came and spent their time with us today. We really appreciate it. I thought those were some really great conversations I heard, and I learned some things. I mentioned briefly I had a meeting this morning. I was in a discussion with Carlos, the president of UATX, and Melva, the president of Houston Tillotson, and Steve Ecker, who's one of the heads up at Dell Medical School, and a few other people. We were all talking about like the future of education and college and where it's going. And it was super cool getting to talk about what we're doing here because I think they all kind of agree this is much more the future of things. TJ was in there too. Cool. Well, we're gonna wrap up we actually have another event here at 6, so we're just right on time, but we're gonna wrap up and get everything out of here. And I'm gonna hand it off to Anjali for a few announcements about what's next, and then we will wrap up.
So we have a new attendance policy. Your assignments will be graded out of 90 for submission and like how much you guys earn out of that. And then showing up in class that week will be the leftover 10 points. So if you show up, you can earn a full 100, but if you don't, you're capped at 90. And then if you're not going to be turning up to class, please let me know by Sunday. And I know a lot of you guys have an exam next week on Tuesday. So if you do have to leave early, email me by Friday this week and let me know. Yeah, you should be turning up and then we'll let you leave early, but you still have to make it to class. And then next week's assignment is Tech Talk Uber demos and then attendance.
Hello? Hey everyone, if you guys want to attend my office hours, there's a room right outside this room and to the right. That's where I'll be. Thank you.
I was always like, I love building